Welcome. This is Barry Jones from the Angel School, and we're here for our weekly angel reading for May 27th through June 2nd. So May 27th through June 2nd, 2019. So let's take a deep breath together and just allow yourself to get comfortable, relax, and just focus on releasing any tension in your body. Don't try to release it, but just allow yourself to be aware of tension and to whatever activity that may be going on emotionally or mentally, to let that go. And in doing so, you allow that physical tension to dissipate in its own timing. So just be aware of whatever you're holding on to in your thoughts and emotionally. And the idea is to not struggle with any of this. You may need to just be present with it without going further into it and giving into it, but just being present, just being an observer, a witness, and just keep moving on to the next thing. Notice and then move on, and notice and move on. And if something keeps drawing you back, then don't try to fight that. Then just go back and notice, be a witness. And then when you're ready, move on. And it's sort of this sense of that you have to know when you are truly ready. You have to know from within when you're ready to move on. So sometimes things linger on, and we don't know how to let go of them. It was interesting, but I'm not going to remember, but I had this feeling in this week of feeling something and just feeling a little, your mind just starts to conjure reasons for things happening. But I didn't have any clear physical evidence of what was happening, but my mind was sort of saying, well, this is probably what is going on. And I remember feeling just so upset, and all of these different emotions, thoughts, and physical sensations were sort of flaring. And I realized in the moment, I said, why are you doing this? Like, why are you putting yourself through this? It doesn't feel good. And it was interesting to notice that what my mind was sort of hell-bent on, being attached to, this huge assumption that it was, I was also recognizing that it wasn't a good feeling, and that this is it was a familiar, you may want to call it even a little bit of anxiety. All the things that this was made up of, all the components, was so familiar and so unwanted. And I remember, in the past, it's like, I want to get away from that. I just want to, escape it, or move away from it, or I want to solve it. It's either one of those things. I want to conquer this. And I just realized that that what I was attached to, the thought process, was what I really needed to let go of. And that I needed to not try to conquer this, and I didn't need to try to get rid of it either. You know what I mean? It was like, just witness it And at some point, I realized that I'd had enough. And it's sort of like when you're sitting at the table and you're eating, and sometimes you will continue to eat, even though your stomach is, full or satisfied. Let's put it that way. Your stomach is satisfied, and so you are able to recognize. You may not stop yourself, but you're able to recognize when your stomach is satisfied. And that's the point where you can say, in this scenario that we're talking about, that you're ready to move on. You may not want to move on, but you are ready. You are prepared. You have what you need. You've gotten out of this. You've gathered the information that you need, and you're ready. You can move on. You can, and you're ready. That you don't make that decision is, you can make another whole point out of it, but that would be to your own detriment. That would be sabotaging yourself. That would be really giving in to the ego. And once you go that far, you're not really going to be in a place where you can be a witness for yourself. And it's so important that we are able to be a witness for ourselves, that we give ourselves that opportunity. Because the word that's coming through right now is leadership, authority, and power, and spiritual power. And when we can get to this place where we recognize, when we're able to be a witness, and that is to say, witness what is going on and be aware that you are ready and that you can let something go, that you can move on, that you can, that you do have choices. And whether or not you choose them, that's a whole other story. But let's just stay with this aspect right now. This is when you can really develop or reconnect, realign. This is when you can really establish confidence and trust in yourself, in your ability to witness and choose. So many times we feel like we're in situations that we feel stuck in. And when we feel stuck, we're not a witness, we're a victim. So there's that distinction between being a victim and being a witness. And it's interesting we didn't say victor, because it's like, usually that's where we think of conquering something. And then if we get so used to conquering everything in our lives, and then when we don't live up to that expectation, then we become disappointed, or we lose confidence and lose trust in our abilities. And so that idea of being a witness is just so open-ended. It doesn't create a lot of false expectations. It's so similar to as I do this work with you, and we talk about, I remember when I first got into this, it was all this idea of peace, and every spiritual path in religion has this end goal of peace as being, the lamb and the lion being laid down side by side, and not, sort of trigger the other into actions of fear or rage or hostility, that we would end this whole victimization and so tripping kind of ideas. But so the idea is that we're all, looking for this peace where everybody just gets along, and where the contrast would almost no longer challenge us, or there would be no contrast because we'd all be on the same page. But without the contrast, there would really be no way for evolution, for us to continue to expand and grow and make, incredible choices, powerful choices for ourselves. We don't want the world to be sort of without variety and without contrast. What we want to achieve within ourselves is that we can be more of a witness to the contrast, and that we can learn how to sift through until we have discovered what is satisfying for us. And then once we've discovered what is satisfying for us, that we're able to then choose a path to create that experience so that you can and then enjoy the reality of what is satisfying to you. And through this, through all the challenges, through all the contrast, through all the variety, you get to keep doing this. And so what you get to, hopefully what you will find successful and peaceful, is that you become successful at being a great witness to all that is occurring, and become very satisfied in what you discover as you sift through it. And that ultimately the peace for you is the satisfaction of living that reality that's so satisfying, so pleasurable for you. And knowing that when the next contrast enters the picture and a challenge arises, that you are ready, that you are delighted to become a new witness, because every time we witness, we see something different. So it's a new experience, and that this becomes a delight for you. It becomes a sense. It gives you a sense of contentment and peace to be able to realign yourself through the process of being a witness, then sifting and seeking out a satisfying desire, and then plotting a path, or planning a path, or being a witness to a path that's unfolding, that you have an intention of participating in, so that you can then experience this satisfying reality. So this is why it's so important, this beautiful lesson that they're bringing to us today about how to be a witness and the benefits of being a witness, but not to create false expectations of the goal of being a witness. You're not trying to conquer your life. You're not trying to, like in the strength card, you're not trying to tame it. You're not trying to open up wounds so that you can get better. If a wound is already in the process of healing, then you don't want to open it up again. You want to let it continue to heal by focusing on being a better witness in your life. So this keeps us in a neutral position about what to do when we're in moments like the one I described I was having. Because taking one side still puts you in either one of those areas, and you still are fighting, even though your goal is to have peace for yourself in that moment. So if I chose to sit down and just try to mantra it away, or affirm it away, versus if I decided to deep dive, into the shadows and really unearth what's happening. The trigger word here is trying on either end. And being a witness, you don't try, you just allow. Because if you allow, it's like you let, because the complexity of our brain and our emotional, mental workings is that if you are a witness, it will offer this information up all on its own. And it's a lot of information is happening, with that thought or that memory or that whatever it is, comes these physical or emotional stimulus that you feel or that you're experiencing, and it sort of all happen at the same time. And the only way to really be able to achieve the idea of being able to know when it's time to move on is by just being a witness, being an observer, and letting the revelation occur to you, come to you, letting it come to you. And so this just helps you to build a trust, so you see that there is a network, for lack of a better word. There's a spiritual technology, a spiritual network that just works. It operates. It functions. Even though we can look at someone and say, or look at something and say, this is dysfunction, your soul, is always functioning. It's always functioning. The thing is that when things are dysfunctioning, it's because we're inserting or asserting some kind of effort where it is not needed. And though the world may be chaotic and full of contrast, it is also full of opportunity and full of really wonderful and amazing, incredible experiences. And so what we want to do is develop a trust and a confidence that your inner being is always seeking. Its purpose is always to help you to find alignment. So you don't have to try to find alignment. You just have to reestablish yourself as a witness to this beautiful tapestry of and it orchestrates this tapestry. It orchestrates through the contrast. It knows how to weave its way, navigate its way to that place of peace, satisfaction, witness, where you are okay with the contrast. You are okay with the challenges. And that it's just that you recognize that you need to be there right now for that moment in your witnessing. And then you recognize, oh, I'm done. I'm satisfied. I know what I have the information that I need to now help me to move on, to now inform my choices, to inform the opportunities that are available for me on this path, to empower me, to make me aware that these things are there for me. All right. So let's just go ahead and tune in and see what's happening with the cards for this week. And it's interesting, as I close my eyes, I just see sort of a board, like a whiteboard. So it gives me a sense of this week is about, I just want to relate this almost to the Three of Wands, having a vision, and starting from a clear place. And you're aware in this moment that you witness yourself as being infinite possibilities at any moment, any time, that you can reassess and totally begin. And it's not that you want to leave behind. It is that all of that, you don't have to worry about that because it's already a part of you. But the fact that now you recognize that what is a part of you has also informed you in some way, and that you can take the influence that it has cultivated within you and you can direct it towards something that in particular that you find satisfying and renewing and refreshing in some way. So let's take a look at the Archangel Oracle card. Interesting. Victory, Archangel Sandalphon. And since we were talking about that, victim, being a victim versus being a witness, and here's the word victory, because I was saying not to say, instead of saying victor, but the card is just giving us a total indication. Archangel Sandalphon is one who carries our prayers to God and to the universe, and also is a sort of patron of music. So this card gives us a sense that in this week that there are going to be some achievements. And the thing about achievements, you will recognize that there is a broader spectrum of achievement that each one of us reaps within a moment or day or a week that we just don't pay attention to because we are not being a witness. We're so busy trying to function and trying to make things occur that we don't see the things that the universe unfolds and brings into our path, because it has already understood your desire and it has already recognized that strong intent and has already seen it, heard it, witnessed it as a true prayer and a request that you have. And there's so many of these that the reason that we don't see them all is because we're not ready. We're not in a place, a vibrational point of attraction, of satisfaction enough that we can allow these things to come in. So if we were being more of a witness and recognizing when we're satisfied from all that we have experienced, all the contrast that we experience, all the variety, people are doing things in the world today that we don't agree with, and vice versa. And we don't want everybody to agree with us. That's not the goal, because that's never going to happen. It's not going to happen. But what we can do, when we can sit back and say, I don't agree with this, but this isn't enough for me to get stuck in this, that I can't be happy, that I can't be on a path where I'm creating satisfaction and I'm creating solutions for the things that this contrasting situation is causing me to take up a leadership role. So, I just say it simply, it's like, if there's something you're against, and I'm not saying that no one should be in this position, because some of us, it would be satisfying. And so you got to understand that when we say this energy of satisfying, you can't, I'm going to give you a generalization, but you can't make this generalization sort of like the ultimate truth. Because for some people, being right there where the contention is going on, where the conflict is going on and battling it out with the other side, it could be a satisfying moment for them, which means they're right where they need to be. And truly, it doesn't matter. There is no such thing as anyone not being where they need to be. Everybody is where they need to be. Because if your soul truly did not desire it, or your soul could not find anything that you would gain from it, it would not bring you there. It would not allow you to really be there. So it's always focusing you where you need to be because of whatever it is that you're wrestling with or whatever it is that you're not wrestling with. So keep that in mind. But ideally, if you really wanted to sort of exact justice for something, then instead of being right there at those people who are never going to change, then you would think about being where you could create the most amount of change. How could you focus your message in such a way that you are really trying to reach the audience of people who are on the fence. Like they don't know, they haven't made up their mind which side they're going to be on. See, that would be the better place to be, to target your audience, rather than going and confronting these people who, the more you confront them, they're going to feel more strongly about their position because they've already just come up with they've already predicted that this is how you're going to react and this is what you're going to say and how you're going to try to talk them out of it. See, they've already been convinced, And so if you go to the people, if you target the audience that's on the side, that may bring more people. Like if you really want to tip the scale, then that's where you're going to be able to do that. If that just helps you to just understand that point. Okay, so let's take a look at the cards for this week. So really be open to all the possibilities for achievement in this week. All right, there's just a variety of ways that this can happen, and you have to be the one who learns to celebrate them. Now look at that. I was going to mention this card because this card also reminds me of the Six of Wands. And, this card here came up in the last week or two in our daily card messages. And what I like about this card, number one, is it reminds me of the Fool, this depiction of it. And these wands remind me of the festival trumpets and the organ, pipe organ. And so, what I mean by the Fool card is that she's right on the cusp, right on the edge, and she looks like she's ready to jump in and dive in, take that plunge. Okay, she's reached this place of satisfaction. Her arms, she's recognized. So this is a card of recognition, being in the spotlight, but we always thinking about it from the outside in, but in this card, what we really see is this from the inside out. That she is in this moment recognizing her own achievement, feeling the satisfaction, and this prompts her to be ready to take a new plunge. This gives her the confidence to take the next step, to either, if that's in your particular case, or to just take go on a new adventure, go to the next journey of your achievement. It just gives you this feeling like you realize that you've done what you've accomplished. You've done something really powerful. You've offered a valuable service, and that you can do more. And that you can really, in this moment, this is when you can really hear the universe. And you can really be a witness. Because when you're in that place of satisfaction, you are receiving the most amount of information available to you. You ever notice when you feel just extremely good that it seems like every opportunity, every solution you can understand, you can see it, it seems like everything is just flowing in your direction, opportunities are coming to you. So it's up to you to take the opportunity to be in that place of satisfaction more often by celebrating every achievement, being a witness so that you can celebrate them and draw more opportunities towards you. Now, this is an interesting card to come next to this. When I see this card, I often think of this is the Four of Pentacles, and it looks very different from our traditional card. And when I think of this card, I think of just trying to hide your talents or your skills or the things that you have. You're being possessive. You're hesitating because of some kind of fear, something like a superstition that you have in your mind, or not superstition, but you're suspicious of others' motives, that you're not trusting. And so it's interesting to put these cards sort of next to each other, and because that's such a contrast, right? So the thing is for the middle of the week. Now you see here, it's sort of like this is in this sort of frozen, or like a almost like one of these glass kind of figures with the pentacles inside. Now you can't get to it and you can't get them out. So it's like, you have to think to yourself, what good does it do me to allow anything that I have to just sit there and not to be somehow useful? So what you may really want to think about is how are you, let's put it this way first. How can you be of service? How can you make what you have more useful to you and others? So is this something that you have, and I don't know why I'm going there with this right now, that's just sitting there, that's just not nobody's using it. It's of no use to anyone. It's just sort of an ornament. Now, if it gives you satisfaction, and if you recognize every time you see it, it gives you satisfaction, okay. But if you're not even aware of it, and it's just there, and it's sort of like now just looks like clutter, then think about how you can repurpose this. See if there's someone else, post it, and see if there's someone else who would make use of this. Because the thing is that these types of things in our environment also represent, and especially if you have a lot of things like this, if you look around in your space right now, you have a lot of things that just don't serve a purpose. They're just holding up space, taking up space. Then you're probably doing this energetically, which is holding you back from appreciating all of your gifts and it's keeping you from appreciating opportunities that are available to you, or that come to you. Maybe an opportunity comes to you and you just think of all the ways that you can't manage, that this would just shake up your world. So also this card reminds me of that, being afraid of change. Because when we hold on to things, we're the attachment, and so that's the word here. Being aware of things that you're attached to, and this may be a little exercise, like just anything that you have. Are you afraid of something happening to it, or somebody touched it or sat on it, would you go crazy about it? And how many of those kinds of things do you have? Especially if you're feeling like, and I preface it by saying this, if you're feeling like you're not moving anywhere in your life, if you're feeling like you don't have a lot of opportunities available to you, that you're stuck, or that you're fearful of a lot of things, just look at energetically how your space is configured and what's going on in terms of things in your space. It could be clothing, objects. It could be, holding on to people, your loved ones, afraid of letting them go, or worried about them too much, till it's just almost exhausting. Anything along these lines, okay? There's an important lesson in this for you. And it's also stating that you are this victim pattern versus witnessing. And when you witness, you realize that there's a natural order to things. Things flow and things go, and that this is all, this is all a part of it. The universe helping you to sort of move on, and to keep going, to keep moving towards the next best thing. Now, I just saw the word emperor as I was talking, and I was turning over this card and still talking about this card. So, emperor, because 4 as well. And the emperor is about establishing, let's see, how you want to say this? It's manifestation, number 1. Taking those ideas from the Empress, all that garden of solutions and creativity, and now starting to create a plan so that this can become concrete, so that this can become a reality. So this is something that you can, the thing that you discovered that satisfies you, that now you can have a plan to move towards that, to live it out. And this is about you, you say authority, the emperor, but this is about you giving yourself permission as well. That's a form of authority, giving yourself permission to have this, the things that you have already imagined that would satisfy you, and plotting a course towards that. So now let's see how this fits in between these two cards, because the Knight of Swords is definitely someone, especially in the traditional card, you see him just racing off. And, since this is about ideas, thought, communication, so the Knight of Swords is someone who is very decisive. He won't hesitate at all to sort of carry out whatever his ideas and thoughts are. He will not hesitate to communicate. They are, this whole court card, this whole suit is about pursuing the truth, and so and really focusing on a purpose and really executing that. So I'm seeing the word supplies, and I have no idea right in this moment what they mean by that, but it could either be that you're worried that you don't, like you keep hesitating because you don't think you have the supplies, or that you need to have the supplies in order to begin. And what this may mean, especially with the Knight here, is you have the ideas, use your mind, use your awareness, get going, and then those things, the supplies, the resources that you need will come. So if you keep waiting for those things to come, that you'll never, you'll be waiting for a very long time. Because it's once you get out on that path and you start taking one step. So you start with what you can do. Start with the resources you have, and you build from there. And once you start building from there, as things expand, the supplies, the resources, your resources will expand. So there may be people who are able to help you to execute your your ideas and your plans. Like maybe someone like this night, maybe you're kind of sluggish. Maybe you need to someone who can sort of work for you, can kind of be a team member who knows how to really go after something. So I would think of this night as someone who's a go-getter, who really, and maybe you need this kind of element or support in your life so that you can, so I'm saying the word expression. So you need someone like this so that you can focus on expressing your talents and gifts, so whatever that might be. So I'm getting a sense that maybe saying the word business, so if this is a business, you may need somebody who can handle all that sort of paperwork, like the Knight of Swords would definitely be somebody who could definitely help you with that, help you with all that background stuff, the accounting, all of that, while you focus on the business, you with the ideas and bringing all that sort of energy and enthusiasm, that charisma of the fire element, the wands that needs to be in the forefront, that attracts people, that attracts that attention. You have that sun energy, that sort of Leo energy that just attracts everyone to you, and you have some things stored away, and you're just afraid to use it. Okay, and I'm getting a sense. Take some of this and put it to use for someone like this. Okay, and you may say to yourself, oh, but I don't know how much I can pay them, because it seems like money is involved, and like you just want to hold on to the money. But just interview and see. You'll find somebody who can match what you're able to offer. And maybe this person, you work something out. Maybe you sort of, with the rest of the salary, maybe there's some other benefits that you give them, and you come up with a plan. They'll help you to get to this place where they increase this, and at some point you'll increase their salary, and you work this out. But if you need this to get started, then take that. I'm seeing the word message, and I know I need to sort of stop and move on here, but pay attention to, I don't know if it's a message you get in an email or something that comes up, or it's just a message that you get while you're out, or intuitive message, but pay attention to those messages. Now this would confirm, this is the Three of Pentacles, and this would confirm that whole teamwork. This is why this simple little idea of the triangle, and sort of showing the actions going back and forth from each angle. And so this is what you need, is sort of like you need to build a team of support around you, where feedback. So it could be that right now you may need some feedback, and this is something that you can ask some trusted colleagues or friends to kind of help you with that, to kind of help you to see yourself, help you to be a witness to yourself, so you don't feel so much like a victim in your circumstances. So whatever it is, if it's bringing on some people to assist you, or if you're just feeling stuck and you need some support to kind of help you flesh out where you're going and what you're capable of, this is advised for you to do. Just don't be afraid to be open to the things that are coming to you, to your own, the achievements that you've already made for yourself. Just be very, very open. All right, so I send you lots of love and angel blessings, and I thank you for joining us this week. If you're looking for an angel reading, you can go to my webpage, theangelschool.com, on the services page, and you can sign up for an angel reading there. If you haven't joined us for the daily card messages, you can go to my website, and you can find it from my website as well, but also there's a link for my website and there's a link for my Facebook page, where you can connect to the daily card messages that I do from Monday through Friday. So everyone, have a beautiful week, and God bless you all.